Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Sometimes Easter brings not only chocolates and bunnies, but sometimes a dose of entitlement, too. A few years back, OP's family encountered just such a situation over a seemingly simple Easter treat that turned into a much larger ordeal. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. Easter entitlement. It's that time of year again when I find myself remembering a bit of entitlement that I encountered near Easter, and it was all over a simple yet delicious cake. Some years ago, my family went to a church that had an Easter bake sale every year the Saturday before Easter. They would make cakes in the shape of bunnies, lambs, Bibles, crosses, etc., as well as other Easter treats. There were some talented bakers in this church, so the cakes always looked good and tasted wonderful. Every year, we'd go to the sale early to get a cake and a large chocolate peanut butter egg. It was tradition. One year, things were a bit more hectic for my family. Mom had to go to the office on that Saturday for a few hours so we could go to the sale early. My uncle and his family was also coming to our house on Sunday to share Easter dinner with us. Mom had a meal planned, but she wasn't sure if she had much time to make a decent dessert. Good fortune seemed to smile on us when it was announced in church that we could pre-order and prepay for any cakes and treats we wanted that year. After the service, we sought out B, who was in charge of the bake sale, and ordered a lamb cake and a chocolate peanut butter egg. As we paid, Mom and I told B about my uncle coming to dinner and how much we wanted the cake. Mom explained she had to work a few hours and asked how long the bake sale would be set up. B said they'd be there until at least 2 or 3 p.m. Mom said we'd probably be there around noon, and B said that'd be fine. We called my uncle and told him about the cake. He seemed excited to try one of the cakes we'd bragged about so much in the past. Saturday rolled around and Mom went to the office. I went with her, and she actually got done a bit earlier than expected. We headed out and actually arrived at the bake sale at 11:45. But no one was there. The table was still set up, and we could see where the bake sale had been, but there was no sign of anyone from our church. Mom called B, who was already back home at this point. B said that they'd sold everything, and the kids, church youth group, had wanted to go back home. Mom asked about our cake. B said they'd sold everything else, the kids were tired, so they just sold it. Upset, Mom reminded B we'd paid for the cake already, but B just reiterated the kids wanted to go home. She seemed to think we should understand. What made the situation worse was that B was our neighbor, and I mean literal. We shared a property line. She had to use our driveway when hers was blocked sort of neighbor. It would have been easy for her to drop the cake at our house or for us to pick it up at hers, but instead, she had just sold it after taking our money. Mom was understandably upset and called a friend of hers who also went to the same church. She mostly just wanted to vent, but her friend told her to wait a minute. Her friend made calls to the other people in the church and soon called us back to tell us another cake was being made for us. Later that evening, we met up with another lady from church who gave us a cake. Dinner the next day went perfectly fine, and my uncle never knew about the whole fiasco. B never apologized, nor did she ever seem to understand what she did wrong. I never did get my chocolate peanut egg. And our second story. Neighbor blocked my car to get me to move my car. This just happened today, and I'm still chuckling about it. The person renting the house across the street from mine has been knocking on my door for weeks now, demanding that we move our car whenever it's parked in front of her house. We have 2 cars and a 1-car garage and driveway. One of our cars is electric and has to be parked in the garage so it can charge. Since it's almost free and super fun to drive, we generally drive that one, which means our other car can't be parked in the driveway or our EV can't get out. Now, we live on a corner, so we actually have tons of space to park at the side of our house, enough for 2 cars without blocking the community mailboxes. However, one of our neighbors loves to park their big old SUV in the middle of that space, making it impossible for us to park there. Guess who owns the SUV? So today we had a friend over for dinner. He'd just split up with his girlfriend, so we wanted to keep him company. Our car was parked in front of entitled neighbor's house, so he parked in our driveway. few minutes later, Ian bangs on our door and rings the doorbell repeatedly. My wife was cooking and I was outside in the backyard, so our friend answers the door. Ian tells him to move our car. He's a nice guy, so he gets the key from my wife and goes to move the car, but has nowhere to move it to because the SUV is blocking both spaces next to our house. He learns from my wife that the SUV belongs to Ian and asks her to move it so he can park behind it. She claims she doesn't have the keys. I was blissfully unaware of any of this until from my backyard I hear my wife cussing at someone out front. I come around from the backyard to find Ian standing behind my friend's car, blocking him from pulling out of our driveway. At this point, I didn't know why my friend was sitting in his car idling. My wife storms inside to let me deal with this since I'm pretty good at staying calm after years of working in retail and tech support. I approach the woman and ask what she's doing. It goes like this. Me. What are you doing? Ian shouting, I want you to move your car. Me. Which car? Ian. That one. It's in front of my house. Me. So why are you blocking my driveway? Ian. I want you to get the keys from that guy, points to my friend in his car, and move your car. I step over to my friend who, seething, explains that he's trying to move his car so he can park my car in the driveway. I step back over to Ian, note that Ian's on the sidewalk portion of my driveway. Me. He's trying to move so he can move our car here. Why are you blocking him? Ian. I want you to move your car. I've been knocking on your door for weeks telling you not to park there. Move your car. Realizing that Ian is insane, I decide to cut to the chase. Me. It's street parking. We can park there. We don't have to move our car. Ian. I don't care. Your wife said the same thing. Me. Now also yelling, and she's right. Are you stupid? He's trying to move his car so you can do what you want, and you're illegally blocking him in. At this point, another woman, Ian's friend or roommate, approaches and shouts at me, ENF, you need to back off. Me. What? ENF, you're too close, a-hole. Me. No longer yelling. You need to move. It's illegal to block someone's driveway. Ian. I'm on the sidewalk, mother effer. I can stay here all day. Me. Oh my God, you're an idiot. Ian. Fine, I'm an idiot, but I'm not moving. ENF. What are you going to do? Attack us? I continue to ignore her. Me. I'm going to call the cops. I turn away and pull out my phone to go inside and call the police. As I'm walking away, Ian shouts, good, call the cops. They'll ticket your car. While I'm on the phone with the police, Ian moves and my friend, a far nicer person than me, parks up the street and moves our car to our driveway. Ian then parks a pickup truck where our car was. I tell the dispatcher that the problem's resolved, but she says an officer's going to come anyway. The cop shows up and I tell him what happened. Fortunately, our next door neighbor does nothing but sit in his driveway all day and saw and heard the whole thing. The cops ask him and my neighbor corroborates my story. Cop then goes and knocks on Ian's door where he gives her a lecture about public parking that lasts around 20 minutes. Before he leaves, the cop knocks on my door to tell me what he told Ian, during which I learn that the SUV parked next to my house, blocking both spaces, belongs to Ian. I also learned to my great relief that the reason Ian wanted to park there is that she's moving out soon. Now for the kicker. Throughout all this, Ian had a spot in her 2-car driveway open. As far as I can tell, she just didn't want our car in front of her house, even though she apparently acknowledges that it's fine to park her SUV in front of my house. She just thinks she owns all the parking in the neighborhood, I guess. Edit. Ian moved her SUV into her driveway at around 10 p.m. I'm guessing she was afraid we'd vandalize it or something. This is very common. A lot of people believe they have the exclusive rights to street parking in front of their house. They are incorrect on a lot of topics. And our last story. I'm the attorney. This didn't happen to me, but my boss. He's a district attorney in a larger city in Germany. He drives an expensive car, and he has a device that signals the police where he is and that he's in danger. The participants are boss, 5 youngsters, B1 through 5, boy 5 was the mastermind, and the police. Now to the story. One day he drove home from work and suddenly 2 boys, 17 and 16, boy 1 and boy 2, jumped in front of his car, forcing him to stop. My boss was really scared, thinking that they're going to take revenge on him because he put many people in jail, and immediately pressed the button on this device to inform the police. The police immediately rushed with all available units. But they immediately shouted at him, accusing him of trying to kill them. The 3 other boys ran to the scene, also shouting at my boss that they're going to call the police and that he's going to lose his license. Then one of the 2 offers that he could give them all the money he got with him and they would leave him alone. At that point, my boss decided to serve some spicy revenge on these a-holes, knowing that every police officer is rushing to the scene and he only needs to play for time. He immediately agreed, but under one condition. They all need to sign a written agreement containing that he paid the money and they are not going to press charges / inform the police. These dumb butts agreed. So he wrote the contract and everyone signed it. After they handed the paper back, they demanded the money, but my boss just laughed at them, stating that no one is going to believe them since he has written proof. What they did was highly illegal and they are going to jail. Not mentioning the police were coming. The police came from effing everywhere. Damn, he can't resist a big, wide smile when he's describing their faces, and I can totally understand that. They were looking like scared ghosts on the verge of existence. One of the smart boys, B3, thought this paper needs to vanish, so the dummy decides to rip it out of my boss's hands in front of the police. As they should later realize that was their biggest mistake, then they tried to escape from the police, but B1, B3, and B5 were caught. The police thought they wouldn't get to know who B2 and B4 were unless one of the other snitches. Well, they didn't need to snitch because they all signed the paper with their real effing names, so the police got the other 2 as well. Fast forward to court. There were several trial dates, but I'll shorten it. Do you remember how I told you that B3 made a big mistake? Well, here in Germany, there's a law from the Nazi era that's still in place that gets you a minimum sentence of 5 years when you rob a motorist. B3 and B5, both over 18, got 6 years in adult prison, also because of their criminal history. B1 and B2 got 3 years in juvenile detention, and B4 was lucky with only community service. All in all, my boss actually didn't need to do much. They destroyed their lives mostly on their own. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.